It's Sunday, 9 p.m. Central European Time. And as usual, my phone gives me a notification that there's something I should watch on YouTube. So that's a good thing. And welcome. We got a guest here, and let's just see if we can figure this out. He just got 1,000 subscribers on YouTube. Welcome, Dave.
Thanks very much, Martin. Thanks very much for having me, and it's a pleasure to be invited here this evening. And 1,000 just today, courtesy of Sheetal there. I can't pronounce your name correctly, I'm sure. But you said it's an SH, so I'm taking it as an SH. So yeah, no, brilliant. I'm really happy with that. And 1,000. There you go.
Yeah, that's great though. 1,000 is a big milestone for everyone that does YouTube. So it feels good to round that 1,000 subscribers. And let's start out with our normal segment though, our ham radio weeks. And this time I'm not on my little Microsoft Surface Go laptop tablet to produce it. So this time I'll probably be on, but let's just do it the way we're here. Walt, how's your ham radio week been?
Been a crazy week for me. I've worked a lot of hours. I'm really busy at work. So I haven't done much, but I did. It was Amazon Prime Day this week, and I purchased a new radio. I've got the Zygu X6100. So I'm pretty excited about that. I got it. I mean, the price was right. It was about $100 cheaper than it normally is. So I ended up paying about $540 for it, which was the cheapest I've seen the thing ever. And so I purchased that this week. Video wise, I did go out and operate portable middle of the week and put a video out on the Sidewinder with the section, the multi-section vertical. Played with that in the middle of the week. It's been hot. It's been raining here. Right now, it's just a miserable time of year to get out portable. So it's kind of tough. I was thinking about going today, but we've had showers off and on, and it's about 35 degrees here for my U.S. friends. You know, that's in the mid-90s Fahrenheit, so it's hot. So this is not the best time of the year for portable operations here on the East Coast. For the Southeast U.S., it's tough. So that's been it, and not real exciting. I've been getting up in the early mornings and hitting VKs. So that's on 20 meters. 20-meter band's been open. Oh, it's still dark here. I was on 4 or 5 a.m. I could just patch right over. I'm on 20 meters on right into Australia. So that's been pretty cool. Been doing that in early mornings. I get up, drink a cup of coffee, get on the radio for about 30 minutes, jump in the shower and go to work. So that's pretty much my daily activity.
Yeah, but that's great. You managed to squeeze in some radio time, even though you're busy. And I think that's something that all of us try to do, actually. Tobias, how has your week been? At least you're back on camera and back in the shack. So yeah, I guess there's some improvement.
Right. It's boiling hot in the shack, 29 degrees. And I think just the thunderstorm and the rain has started. So I have to close the windows in a second. Yeah, I guess my arm is slightly improving. I don't know. I don't want to bore you with the stories. I made 2 small videos this week. 10-minute unboxing the Super Pixie and a 10-minute quick comparison between the Tiny 85 board that I used for my CW Kia with a Raspberry, Raspberry Pi Pico variant, Pimoroni RP2040. And yeah, that's as much ham radio or playing with stuff that I got in this week.
Yeah, but that's pretty good though. And I like the new video format, uncut and 10 minutes on the egg timer. That really works.
Yeah, I'm not sure if it works. You have to prepare. Yeah, I mean, obviously, if you don't cut the video, you have to prepare yourself up front so that it doesn't get a complete bollocks video. And sometimes you need 2 or 3 takes. But hey, let's see if I can keep it up.
And Stu just donated £5 to Tobias for a new front wheel for your.
Thank you very much, Stu. And yeah, Nathan, I'm here. I'm up. I saw your comment. I just got locked out of YouTube. Otherwise, I could answer in the chat as well.
And but that means you've done a little bit of ham radio. And I saw on Twitter today that you wound a toroid with one arm, or how did you do that?
Yeah, that was a bit painful. I don't know if I can find a picture. I'll show it later, but yeah, I thought I start winding the end half-wave transformer, but I used quite thick wire, and you really have to pull with both hands, and then it's not good for your shoulder, so I stopped. Yeah.
Well, that's great though. You've been able to do something, and that's good. It's good to see back to bias. Bob, what have you been up to?
Oh, let's see. It's hard to remember as always. Nothing particularly interesting, I think. I've been up a mountain on Thursday to do the 2 meter sideband net. It's a fantastic location. I heard everyone a lot better than from the location that I normally use. And well, then as least you, Morten, know, there's been a lot of rain and shitty weather for the last few days. So I've been doing portable from my car with the Ampros, the ham sticks on the roof, and that is I'm continuously being more and more impressed by these Ampro sticks. I was sitting on the park that we didn't go to on the day the three of us went out.
Yeah.
Americans and Canadians, they just kept pouring in on 20 meters. That's pretty amazing from not such a brilliant location.
Well, it is brilliant though, because you're pretty much in salt water when you're
True, but there's all the salt water is in the opposite direction, so I would expect to get Japanese people, not Americans and Canadians. So it was a pleasant surprise. But I think conditions were good that day, because I moved to another park later on and I got more Canadians and Americans, so probably nice conditions.
Yeah.
Other than that,
go ahead. The ham sticks are good. They're a lot better than their reputation, is my experience from them, and they're easy, and that's a good thing.
Absolutely. So I have now from 30 meters and up to 10 in the back of my car always. So just a few minutes, set them up. I can play radio whenever I have 5 minutes free. That's nice. And I also have to say to Tobias, excellent. I love the 10-minute video formats. Yeah, I'm absolutely for sure gonna copy that. I have the BF18H that I finally got tricked into buying. I figured I'll do not an unboxing, but a deboxing of that radio.
Yeah, I think the egg timer really helps to know when to stop, because you can get off on a tangent and then you ramble and no one really wants to listen to that.
Absolutely. And for Tobias, I'll when I figure out how I'm going to donate some my own €5 for you to get not a bike tire but a fat bike tire that doesn't fit.
Exactly. That's the key, right?
So keep on saving till you get enough donations for a fat bike. That's the way to go.
Exactly.
That's my weekend and some.
Yeah. And Dave, how about your ham radio week before we get started? And probably you should probably tell the guests a little bit about your channel as well, for those who haven't seen your channel before.
Yeah, no problem. Thanks very much, Morten. Interesting to hear your weeks, guys, as well. Well, basically, my name's Dave, as you can see there on the stream, call sign EI5IMB. My channel is Irish Ham Radio on YouTube. It's on TikTok, and I put a little bit on Instagram and Facebook as well to support really all of it is to support the YouTube, really is where my main content is. I mainly operate portable and mobile, and most of my content is portable. Predominantly SOTA. In the last while, I've started doing worldwide flora and fauna as well. So I find the worldwide flora and fauna is actually really cool. It's tough, like, because you have to get 44, but I find more than what you were saying there, Bob. The one thing about flora and fauna is, and I'm the same, like, we're all the same. If you're working, you're just trying to fit radio in a lot of the time, wherever you can. And if you're driving past a flora and fauna site, say on the way, I work out on different sites and different places a lot of the time, I'd be able to actually just pull up, as long as you have the vehicle set up and the ham sticks are brilliant. On you go, screw on the antenna within 5 minutes, you're up and running. Once you don't forget the battery, so or some other paraphernalia is left at home, you can sit there and I find them really, really good as well. The Ampros, I definitely agree with that. I've changed my Jeep setup, my Amarok setup. Now I did have a multi-band. What was it? An Alpha Moto FMJ, but it's a highly compromised antenna. It did give you multi-bands with a tuner, but now I've changed now to have a mount that basically I just carry the amp. I have all tuned Ampros ready to go and just screw them on whenever I want to go. Because I found that I was never running HF mobile anyway. It was always static mobile. So it's not like you have to drive at 60 mile an hour or whatever with the Ampros on. As far as my week is concerned, well, I suppose back a little bit further than the week just gone. I was in Tenerife and I got 2 SOTA activations completed there. Unfortunately, the second one, I landed in the middle of a contest and I only really had 20 meters with me, so that was fun. But with my little 10 watts and my Zygu, I did make the activation. I think I might have just gone into the double digits, but I could hear plenty, but they just couldn't hear me with all the big contest stations. And then this week, just today, I was actually out and have a little bit more content for a short format video of a portable. Wasn't an activation or anything, just operating portable, sitting outside the camper van as my wife and one of the kids were sitting inside just chilling out. So we actually got a dry day, or the second half of the day was dry, so I was able to actually sit outside and not get drenched. But again, my camper van is also set up with a few switches and cables going different directions, but with a permanent mount grounded to the body for Ampro ham sticks, because they're just they are cool, and that's kind of the way my mobile operates now. So yeah, so that was my week.
Yeah.
So which ham sticks would you recommend if you have none at all? The 21, 15, or?
Well, what I do is, especially if I'm operating worldwide flora fauna would be a lot of what I would do static mobile. So I tend to do operations like today as well, like where it's just sort of a random operation for no real reason, just beside the coast. It was right on the coast now. It's like 10 meters from the sea, so good conditions as well. But generally, I would always have a 20. Definitely take a 20. I mean, it's kind of a no-brainer. And for here as well, 40. And I don't actually. I had a lend of a 40, but they weren't in stock in my local shop here, so I have to get a 40-meter one, because 40 is very good. Although you think, sure, that's massively compromised, and it is, but it will work. And during the daytime, generally when I'm doing these static operations or activating flora fauna, I would be, and that's the other good thing about flora fauna, it's mobile as well. So you don't have to necessarily climb up a mountain. It's very accessible. It's a very accessible award scheme. I'm going off topic a little bit, but I'll answer your question. Sorry. 40 meters, 40 meters, definitely. Well, yeah, just because you asked about the antenna, 40 meters, definitely, because that lands in the UK for me during the day, and flora fauna is very popular for chasers in the UK. Same with SOTA as well. Like I would 40 and 20 on SOTA would be my kind of go-to for the most part. But they're the two I would take. I have a 10-meter one and I have an 80-meter one as well. They don't get as much use, though, to be honest. Now you can imagine how compromised the 80 is, you know.
Yeah,
but
80 is probably not working very well. So
80,
does anybody know if it's worth to pay the premium for a diamond variant? You know, these center-loaded antennas that they do. I mean, compared to an Ampro stick, but I guess it's maybe a dB or two, and maybe it's not even worth it, right?
They are all compromised though. So, but as Stu says, 40 work, but you're missing so many convex on a ham stick. And that's probably in a lot of scenarios. I've talked about this before, but in a lot of scenarios, just being able to get easily on the air is worth a lot more than having a resonant antenna, at least in my point of view. And Nathan asked if they do a top band ham stick. I'm actually not sure, but that would be really, really narrow banded. I think.
The first time I break one of my Ampros, I'm gonna rewind that as a top band antenna. So I'll let you know.
Kjetil, your week.
As you can see, it's a bit sunny here. and it's Sunday for the first time today. It's been raining a lot. So yeah, ham radio week here has been nothing. I ran like 5 QSOs on FT8 before this here, and then the last activation for me was 1.5 weeks ago or something like that. I've been really busy with family stuff and with coming back to work after vacation. So yeah, I haven't really done anything. I've been flying a bit of drones, filming a bit, and uploaded a long video about a portable battery bank that I've been testing over the summer. Like it's a 230 volt power bank, so I had uploaded my longest YouTube video ever, I think, for that.
Yeah, that was a great video though, because it's ham adjacent, but it's not really ham radio.
But if you
go ahead.
But if you're going out like on a long trip like me on a few days road trip, then you need power, basically.
Yeah.
So in some sort, and there are getting some very nice finished solutions on the market. So
it's certainly a lot easier than it was just a few years ago.
Yeah. So I will probably be doing some either flora fauna or parks on the aero growth activations here, perhaps a SOTA activation while I'm here at the cabin, but that depends a lot. I'm mostly here to visit family, so there won't be that much free time sadly.
Yeah.
But I am available on the normal repeater that you and Bob have talked to me on. So
yeah, that's great to know when you're in this part of the country. So let's do my ham radio week then before we move on to something that probably resembles our topic today. I started the week out. The weather's been really bad here as well, so I started the week out with checking how well actually the 6100 is, and if it's really a 10-watt radio. And it turns out that it's even a 10-watt radio on AM, as a lot of commenters just pointed out that it shouldn't be 10 watts on AM, but it was, and it was also 10 watts on CW. Rock solid 10 watts all across the bands. And then I tested the MXP50, the amplifier, just to see how much power that actually gives. And it turns out it gives about 30 watts on all the bands, plus or minus something. So not a huge improvement, but gives you a little bit more power when going out.
And then it's 10 watts on all the bands. Would that mean that it's software limited somehow to be 10 watts? Since usually like they're bad on some bands. That could be an indication that it could do more.
Probably could. It depends if the final transistors would really like any more power though. But might be. We'll see what other firmwares can do for this radio.
You changed the firmware in the middle of your test, or so maybe test AM again. Maybe it doesn't do 10 watt anymore with the new firmware.
I've tested AM with the R1 CBU firmware as well, and then I've done 3 POTA activations this week. One never activated park in the city of Drammen by saltwater with radials in saltwater. With the R1 CBU firmware, which turned out to not really be loud enough in a portable environment. The speaker just wouldn't be loud enough, so I had to reboot the radio and change firmware mid activation. Same day I did POTA and Nature Preserve with the most amount of mosquitoes I've ever seen. So that was one of my quickest activations ever. I did 10 contacts and then just shut everything down and packed up. So
I really enjoyed that X6100 power video. I was right in the middle. I was right about to pull the trigger buying this X6100 this week, and I watched that. I was like, all right, I'm gonna do it. I'm there. So I think good video, Morten. I appreciate that.
Yeah, and Jeff comments that 10 watts on AM should relate to at least twice as much on sideband, and I gotta agree though. So there's something going on with the 10 watts AM, so I have to look further into that. Nathan comments that 10 10 watts to 30 watts isn't even an S point. It's not, but it improves your modulation somewhat, so it's easier to be heard.
Just use a 20 watt. Just use a 20 watt G90, and then go back and use something 10 watts, and you'll just from experience here, I'm telling you right now, that step from 10 to 20 is a noticeable difference. I know it is when I.
It's not necessarily the amount of power you put out, but how well you've heard. We discussed this with Colin last week as well. So my experience is that it gives a little bit more punch to your transmissions.
Yeah.
Bert's thinking about buying an FT710. Let's hit that before we go to the topic. Has anyone of you guys tried that?
No.
I've been drooling over that radio. I really, really, really have a hard time not buying it, but so far I've managed to avoid it. But I think that's a really, really cool radio. So if you have the money and the desire, go for it.
Yesterday, you're talking about Yaesu radios. Yesterday on Coffee and Ham Radios, T.O. and Smoking Ape and all, they were going through all the Yaesu and Kenwood, all the Japanese radios, and the prices are like, 1,500 euro and 2,000 euro or whatever. And I told them, I was like, you guys are talking about all these sushi radios. I'm just over here enjoying my Kung Pao chicken radios from China. Nathan even said something earlier about all my Chinese radios. He's like, I'm going to lose my security clearance for
and there is an Ampro 160. But as James says here, it'd probably be a bit of a dummy load, and I would think so. I've never really tried any 160. I've done a little bit of FT8 on an antenna I've tuned for 160, but I probably wouldn't use a ham stick for that.
That ham stick is 70 euros. Ham stick. I would not pay 70 euros for that ham stick. That's for sure.
That's quite expensive.
So to our topic today, and I was thinking though, we do portable operations, at least most of us, and you've dabbled a little bit into it, haven't you, Tobias?
Yes.
So I was thinking about how to maintain your equipment and just be sure that it's working well. And probably both Walt and Dave has the most extreme operating conditions I've seen on video anyway. And probably you too as well, Kjetil. But Dave, what do you do to keep your gear well maintained?
I think, well, in Ireland anyway, one of the main things really is try not to get it damaged in the first place. but if I suppose from a maintenance point of view, I mean, radios, it's wet. It's wet here. That's the problem. It's just wet all the time. And with regards to the radio, a lot of the times I would actually have the radio maybe if I'm not operating out of a tent or some sort of a shelter, I try to have the radio in a bag. For maintenance wise, really the only maintenance that I do are two parts for my portable. So my portable shack for SOTA, which is where the worst conditions are, is fairly straightforward. It's actually changed now to this Xiegu X6100. It was a Yaesu FT891, and basically just keeping that dry. I've never really had to do any maintenance on the radios as far as that. Sometimes a bit of grass might get caught, if you're sliding on and off the front, particularly with the 891. There's a lot of holes here and there, and you might get a bit of grass or a bit of dirt in it. Just make sure that's all cleaned out. But the main maintenance then, apart from that, would be number one on the SOTA pole. So, because obviously that's soaking wet whenever you take it down, and because by the time you're coming down in the rain, you're just kind of shoving everything away. And so you have to polish your stick when you get home.
Not on camera. We talked about this, Dave.
I know. But so yeah, I find it, and I'm not great at it, to be honest, which I don't always dry it, but if it gets very wet, you do need to because not only that, but it smells as well. Like it smells like just damp, But other than that, in fairness, that little pole, that Tactical Mini, is a fairly hardy. It's got a lot of scratches on it now. That's from Tenerife, because obviously in Tenerife you're just on it's just rock. So I had to actually shove it into rocks rather than use the normal pegs into the mud that we have on the summits here. But one thing that actually Fraser from the Radio Rover mentioned to me, and it's a good idea, what he does for these is if you have a large heat shrink and put it over the edge of this. So this would be preventative maintenance, which I have not done, but it is a good idea on these particular poles. So if you're activating summits where you're wedging this into rocks to mount it, then put a bit of heat shrink on the outside of that. It'll obviously protect the fiberglass. I don't know if you can see it there, but there's some deep enough gouges in the pole. And the only other thing then is checking my coax. So for example, where the coax on the SOTA beams antenna, there's quite a sharp bend in the coax here. It's not easy to see on camera, but I noticed whenever I was in Tenerife just last week that the SWR kept jumping up when I was transmitting, and it's because the sharp kink in the cable, and from getting wet and cold and hot and cold and hot, has actually caused a crack here. So you need to be checking your cables as well. Sorry, there's the crack on that cable there. Whoa.
Yeah, that's pretty common on the SOTA beams linked dipoles, isn't it? I've heard of a lot of people having that issue with the antennas.
So you do, yes. So I suppose, again, from a preventative point of view, because you just don't want to be up on a summit. And like, imagine I had a climb that went to Tenerife, took my gear, went through the whole hassle of having the right batteries and not traveling with gear on airlines and LifePo batteries, and then my antenna was broken because I had no alternative. So I suppose that's something I've learned only recently, is to check the coax, particularly on this type of an antenna. So other than that, that's all really maintenance wise that I do. Keeping my batteries, obviously look after the LifePo batteries correctly as well, charge them correctly, use the correct charger, put them in storage mode if they're not going to be used for a long time, but mine get used all the time, so they're never in storage mode, to be honest. So
yeah, what time do you have not using your batteries? I think I tend to use at least my LifePo batteries all the time, pretty much.
Yeah. Well, so I don't know how. Maybe Walt will tell you how to maintain a pool noodle. I don't know.
I'm thinking, because you operate in a salty, wet, and sandy environment a lot of the time, Walt. Do you do any special things to make sure that your gear lasts?
I know I just saw Nathan a little while ago talking about getting sand in his SO239 or whatever. What I do when I'm putting an antenna up or taking it down, I put everything together and then add the coax. Or when I'm done, I take the coax off first and wrap it up. It's like, don't let it touch. I have slipped and dropped it. Sand and coax is the number one thing. It's a problem. I mean, you can blow it out or whatever, bang it or whatever, and get it out of there. But sand and threads, as you know, that they don't go together. So I usually, when I'm tearing down, or for that matter, putting up, the coax is the most important thing. I try to maintain that, put it together, take it down or what have you. The pole, just like Dave was saying, I use my DX Commander poles. I've got a couple of them. When I'm taking them down, I'll lay them over, usually on a beach chair or something, to keep them up out of the sand, and just one section at a time. Just kind of run my hand over it, make sure there's no sand in it, take it down, screw it up, and go. I've only had one bad incident. One time I was on the beach, and just out of nowhere, this rogue wave. I was almost on the border of where it's called Sandbridge, where Virginia Beach meets it's where the Outer Banks of North Carolina start. It's not far from here. And this wave came out of nowhere, and it came up over the beach and where I was at. So everything I had was underwater, but I had everything up enough that I was okay. I was using the True USDX, and it fell, and it actually floated. And I was stressed. I got home and I put it in rice like you do a cell phone, pulled it out, fired it up. Man, I was making contact. So
Gee, Mac, really?
I am brutal. I am brutal on my G90. I was telling somebody yesterday that radio is a tank, because and getting back to nice radios, and it's probably why I get out portable with a lot of cheaper radios, because the environment that I'm in. I mean, I would be upset. It would be a pretty good chunk of money I lost if they were out there. But I use my stuff. My G90. I mean, if you look at my videos, it's sitting on a concrete seawall. It's sitting by the sand. I mean, there's sand. A lot of my videos, when I zoom in on so people can see what's going on the waterfall or whatever when I'm making a QSO, and you can just see sand all over everything where it's blowing off. When I'm done, just kind of wipe it off and put it back in the bag. And that's kind of the beauty of playing with cheaper equipment. I mean, at the end of the day, me personally, my part of the hobby that I enjoy is propagation and the environment, the salt water, what's going on in the atmosphere or whatever. And these are just tools, they're just tools to experiment in that environment. So, these guys that go out and get, this high-end stuff, that's great if you're going to keep it at your home base station. But my recommendation, if you're going to operate a lot of portable, don't go overboard. You know what I mean? You don't need to go out there with a 991 and a 50 amp hour battery and all this stuff. You got to lug down there anyway. It's heavy or whatever. Inexpensive, cheap radios for operating on the beach is, to me, what it's all about. And I enjoy it. I've got this 6100. I've got a 50. I've got almost every Zygoon radio made. And if one of them, I got caught in a thunderstorm, if another wave hit me or whatever, and it died, as long as, like, that G90, I've been using it for 3 years. It's crossed the Atlantic Ocean 8 times. I mean, it's a beast. And all I do is throw it in the bag and use it. So if something happened to it, I wouldn't be crushed. I'd just go take another $399 and buy another one.
But that's a good point, though, because I started out with a G90, and then I had an 817 from a portable rigs, and they are rugged radios. They're built like tanks. Now I have a 6100, and I feel that I got to take care of that in a completely different way than those other two radios. There's a little bit of a question here about LiFePO batteries in Europe. And I guess there's no clear answer to that, because shipping LiFePO batteries is the tricky part. So I don't know if you guys agree, but finding something locally would probably, or semi-locally, would probably be the best option. Here, it's really hard to get good LiFePO batteries without paying half an arm.
These were a very big popular thing when I started with these Zippies. These were all over the place, these Zippy LiFePOs, and they're supplied by Hobby King. Hobby King seems to be a website that's kind of for, like, model plane enthusiasts, model car people, and that. And but they have all sorts of chargers and batteries. But they seem to have, well, when I purchased off it, they have an EU warehouse, and then what just says worldwide warehouse. So I think if you're in the EU and you purchase off the EU one, then, well, you're not going to be caught with any duty or tax or anything like that. But if you purchase off the worldwide, now the problem is that they're never in stock. It's really hard to get them. I got that one first. Luckily, after waiting about 4 weeks, and somebody actually posted on one of our local SOTA Facebook pages that they were in stock, and that's the only reason I knew it. And then, of course, that one's too big to take on an aircraft, so I wanted to get to activate abroad. I got the 4200, the half size of this, which is less than the 100 watt hours or whatever you need for flying on a plane. So I'm lucky enough I've got both of them. But that's my experience with it anyway. Hobby King.
That's a lithium polymer battery, is it? Yeah, because I think when you say I'm not quite sure if you meant lithium polymer or lithium iron phosphate, because I use lithium iron phosphate batteries.
Probably lithium iron phosphate. It's a lot safer to deal with anyway.
Yeah, that's my preference as well. I have two, and I can recommend wholeheartedly Christec for the Norwegians among us. I don't think he ships abroad, but he has nice batteries, and that chemistry. I sleep a lot better at night having these batteries in my house than the lithium polymers, for sure.
Yeah, no, you're right, Jed. It is the ones you're talking about, Jed. Sorry.
Bert says, and don't go for the cheapest stuff. I think I saw a video from K8 MRD yesterday or today where he dismantled a few of his cheaper lithium iron phosphate batteries, and don't buy the cheapest stuff. That's all I'm saying.
That goes for everything, not just batteries.
Yeah.
In fact.
Yeah, and Jeff asks if you can travel freely across the EU with LiPo batteries, and I guess we should probably say Europe, since some of us aren't in an EU country. But yes, you can as long as you're not flying. You can.
Don't rub it in, Morten.
I would actually prefer. We're not going to talk that, but I'd prefer us being in the EU. But we're not going to talk politics here. So
I agree on the not politics, but I would champion personal memberships, personal EU memberships. I think that's the way to go. And if that was possible, I would get one. I have to agree.
Just your house, Bob.
Yeah.
Just a shack.
Getting back to batteries,
Just a shack.
I've flown with LiPo 4s. I have a small 6 amp hour LiPo 4. As carry-on, I've crossed the Atlantic many times with it, flown in and out of Europe. I've gone through Frankfurt, Munich, Amsterdam with it. Never a problem. Right through the conveyor belt. They scan it, come right back, grab my bag, and go. So
I got
so in
questions
hand
for
luggage,
the first
right?
time. Yeah.
carry
It has to be
on.
in hand luggage. Yeah.
Yeah.
I got
Yeah.
questioned for the first time ever, actually, this time coming back from Tenerife about the radio and the
Really?
battery. Yeah. He I was getting a bit worried. He was holding me there for a while. There was people passing, and he was like, he was okay then.
I had
In
that
the end,
happen
he
one
believed
time.
me.
This radio in Munich. I stopped and the guy's looking at it. They put the dust on it and checked it out or whatever. And it was this little cheap 100 euro, USDX radio. I got questioned on that. And he looked at it and looked at it and looked at it. And finally another guy came over and said, he's a ham radio operator. Let him go. And I went, but that's the only time. And I think you're right, Dave. It's the battery inside of these that asks the question.
Exactly. I think that's what it is. Yeah, because he was very skeptical now, and he talked same as that. He kind of talked to another guy, and then he just sort of said, "Yeah, okay." And then I was about to walk away, and then the next thing he pulled out the battery, and he goes, I was gonna go.
Yeah, probably looks like plastic explosive in the X-ray. You never know. Yeah.
I had to turn my radio on once just to show that it was a radio.
Oh, really? Yeah.
I've had to do that. That was worse right after 9/11. They would insist that you turn on pretty much anything that could house a bomb in it, just to prove that it was functional.
Same with the laptop. Like you had to show, hey, this laptop is a laptop.
Yeah, absolutely. That's
So,
a long time ago now.
But
I remember my dad telling stories how he got checked on his business trips with very, very ancient computers at the time, like with a small built-in CRT monitor, so probably like 20, 30 kilos, and they took hours to, sniff the thing and check it, that it is not, I don't know what they thought, make atomic bomb or I don't know.
But I do remember German customs prior to open borders in the EU of being really tricky. A lot of stereotypical strict Germans checking you then.
Did you see William Northcote says, I'd ask them to turn it on, and then when they do, run.
Yeah, these people usually have good sense of humor when it comes to that.
That's probably a very good way to get you banned from flying for life, right?
Yeah.
I
You ain't going on holiday.
I know some countries where you shouldn't do that. Specifically the U.S. I'm usually a bit scared going through immigration and customs when flying to the U.S. Walt.
Yeah. I flew to Croatia.
That's a true statement. I have more trouble getting back into the U.S. than I do getting over into the EU or
Yeah.
It's, but then again, we had something really bad happen here about 22 years ago that happened with it. So that's why it's that way here.
But it was that before 9/11 for me as well, though. it's a place where you try to keep a strict face, don't smile, don't do anything out of the ordinary, and
No stupid jokes.
no.
Yeah.
I
Yeah,
am fortunate when when I'm coming back in the United States, I have my passport, but I also have my my U.S. military ID. So and then they go, where you been? I said, I've been in Poland working, and I give them that. Oh, okay, and then boom, go right through. They're pretty cool about that.
It used to be like that with the scout uniforms here in Norway. If you came back with the scout uniform, then you just show that you had a passport and you were shown in. So that
there's nothing like that here. It's just you just arrive at the airport and it's like he goes, "How you, Dave? How you, Jerry?"
Yeah.
And off you go.
I have to tell the story about the scout. You're talking about scout uniforms. Did you ever go to land at the Fornebu airport coming from abroad, Kjetil?
Yes.
The customs there, they were sitting at their spot. There was a line walking past, and all you have to do to get into the country was to say Norwegian in Norwegian. So you walk past and you say Norsk, and that's it. You got in.
Yeah.
If you could do that, you got in. No problem. I miss those times. I really miss those times.
But how about we try to get semi back to topic though?
Yeah.
Polishing our sticks again.
Because I don't really do a lot of maintenance per se on my gear, but I always try to make sure that my antennas are working and that my coax is good before going out. And once I notice that a coax isn't working, I usually just throw it away just to be sure. That's basically my also just wiping down the poles once in a while. It's kind of hard to say that with a straight face now, but
it's
that's another way of saying it. Yeah.
There's like with the poles, I usually take them like fully apart, all of the joints, when I get back from like when it's been raining and stuff like that. And one thing is to stop it from rotting or deteriorating and making that funky smell that Dave mentioned, because they do smell really bad after a while.
They do.
But if you're operating in winter, I'm not sure if any of you guys have operated in like minus 20 degrees Celsius.
Mm-hmm.
If there's any moisture on that and you do that and just lock it, then it's locked and you will not get it apart.
I beg to differ. You will get it apart, but you will have to warm it with your bare hands until they're at 0 degrees. Then you can collapse one section, and you have to wait 10 minutes to get the feeling back into your hands, and you can do it at another section. That is not pleasant.
No. So I broke an antenna that way. I also tried heating it over like my camping stove to accelerate the process. And the glue in those things, they don't cope with that amount of heat.
And speaking about that though, buy halfway decent poles. You don't need to buy a Soda Beams or a DX Commander, but ordering a 17-meter pole from AliExpress, keeping it outside to try to homebrew a DX Commander. It's not a good. It's not a good pole. It works until the first night of freezing, and then everything just snaps.
I made a mistake this winter. I left my 12-meter spider pole out in the garden over winter, and I don't think it worked so well for the rubber caps bottom and top, and I think the smallest element has also suffered. But the good thing about spider pole is you can just go to the website and say, hey, the top section is broken, send me a new one, right? So I think this alone is worth the extra price, right? So the possibility to just, if an element is damaged, you just swap it out and you're good again.
I think Colum does the same thing with the DX Commanders. He says, if you break something, just let us know. We'll see if we can dig something up. We'll get it at cost. So he has the same policy.
But the spider beam poles, are they built in Germany or are they, I'm going to try to get back in focus here. Are they built in Germany or are they Chinese poles as everything else?
I don't know.
I guess no one knows.
I don't know.
I could make up an answer if you want, but I
Yeah,
I think
it'd
they're
be like
Polish.
You can probably
They
Google
will.
it.
Yeah.
But Morton, you're so right about the AliExpress polls. I mean, I each time I went, the first three trips I went to Poland like a year and a half ago, each trip I took another. At first I went with a 5 meter pole, and then the second time I took another 5 meter pole because I was going to build that half square. Third time I brought a 7 meter pole. Each time I was there, one of those poles broke. So the last time I went, I just duct taped it, and I had, out of 3 different poles, I made one good 7 meter pole.
Yeah.
The last week before last, when I left, the Thursday as I was leaving the house, I just broke it all apart and threw it in the garbage. So yeah, buying a good pole and maintaining and taking care of a spider beam, or like I do with the DX Commander poles or whatever. I've got I have the Expedition, the 10 meter Expedition, and I have this 7 meter poles. And yeah, I take a little bit more care of those, and I maintain them, wipe them down when I'm done, and make sure they don't have water in them or whatever. And that's the thing to do. It's probably, I actually made a video, the video before last, the one I did about operating portable, and I talked about that in the video. I was like, you can start off and buy cheap, but that's one of the recommendations. I said, buy a good pole and take care of it. It is important.
Yeah. It's kind of one of those buy once, cry once scenarios, though. Although I've had great experience with really cheap poles from what's actually an auto parts store here in Norway. About 14 euros a piece, 6 meter poles, and they're so cheap that you can buy 5 of them. But at the same time, if you buy 5 of those, you can get one DX Commander pole. And
yeah, but they break as soon as you look at them. At least the top links.
The Biltema ones, I had one of these standing outside the whole winter for my antenna at home. It survived the whole winter. I taped it up on all the so that the water didn't get inside. That worked, and as you said, that's 14 euros for that thing. I think it's amazing value for money. But also I have to say about Chinese poles, I have the exact opposite experience because I wanted a fairly tall one, so I ordered a 15 meter pole. And it said on eBay that this was a carbon fiber pole, and I thought, yeah, right, that's kind of carbon fiber. But it turned out it was carbon fiber, of course. So I couldn't use it for an antenna. That's bloody annoying. So I had a really nice 15 meter carbon fiber pole that I couldn't use for anything because, it was carbon fiber. Opposite experience.
You can still use it for a dipole, though.
I can, and if you've seen the orange antenna, orange stick that I use for my inverted V, that's also fiberglass. I made the same mistake there, so yeah, I got something out of it.
Yeah.
Have you actually? Oh yeah, sorry. Go on. Yeah.
Yeah. Go ahead, Dave. We can.
No, I was just going to say that thing about I see the question there as well from Gert. The thing about the carbon fiber and the interaction. Has anybody actually ever ran a vertical up a carbon fiber here? Because
yes,
I've seen. Yeah, and did it really just ruin it? It did.
No, that was a sleeve dipole for 6 meters in that stick that I talked about. It fused to the antenna wire, and the carbon fiber fused at the top. I had to pull them apart.
Right. Okay,
not good.
So not great. Yeah,
no.
Fair enough. Okay, that answers my question.
Yeah.
Gert says if it's a good idea to put Vaseline on the coax connectors when you work a lot outdoors. And there's a couple of trains of thought here. I think DX Commander uses Vaseline on his connectors. I use electrical.
Yeah.
I use electrical tape,
like, because you're going to be taking the connectors off every time.
No, then it's no use of water sealing it though. Yeah. But for permanent use at home,
to pick up sand and dirt and everything else too, and add it to it. You know what I mean? Like,
yeah,
you're not gonna. If you got Vaseline on the connector of a coax, you're not gonna blow it out, knock it off, and clean it. No. You're gonna have to take all that off and reapply it.
But for your antennas at home, some kind of water seal is improved.
Well, I guess the cheapest is self-amalgamating tape. Just wrap it round good and proper, and then it, melts, and that's probably good enough.
But
But on the other hand, PL259 is also not a great connector. Yeah, I mean, like something like a N connector has proper seals in anyway. Is 50 ohms is the much superior connector, but you have to see for what purpose, right? I mean, for HF, PL259 is probably okay, but it's not great. I'm not a fan of it. Yeah, I prefer a BNC connector anytime.
Yeah, I actually, on my outside antennas, most of my connectors are somewhat in a dry spot, though. I try to keep the feed point somewhere dry for everything except my my Windham antenna, which is suspended 14 meters above ground. But that's a Hari Windham, and that they got some kind of lip where you at the feed point, so you don't expose the plug directly to water. So I've had good experiences. I probably shouldn't say this out loud, but I have pretty good experiences not water sealing my my connectors outside.
Must be
Welcome
good
to
quality
Western
connectors,
Norway.
Yeah.
It does rain here as well, though.
Yeah, but you know the Lima Alpha 4 Charlie clubhouse that I mentioned a few times before. We have had antennas there and masts that were taken down by waves.
By
So-
which? By
Waves.
Waves.
Yeah,
From
water waves.
the sea.
It's on the it's
Jesus.
5 meters from the North Sea coast. So
Okay.
it's in, yeah.
So you wouldn't take your
So-
little boat out there with your mast support on it then?
No, they're permanently mounted there.
Oh yeah, yeah. Gee,
I can
Mac.
see if I can find a picture, but yeah.
Geez, that must be rough
Um,
now. By waves. Jeepers.
Yes, it's a harsh place, but it's also a really nice thing. But yeah, operating in Western Norway, I think that is very similar to what you would find in Ireland, for example, with weather.
Yeah.
So
Did this question just on the maintenance? Just when we're talking about seals and coax and cables. I've something I always just like opinions really to see what you guys think and what the viewers think on it. So you'd often see somebody, particularly say with a vertical, say a vertical 2.70 m or a collinear or something like that. Like for instance, I have one of them here at the shack, and a lot of people would actually put a curl or a coil, not even a coil, but one loop at the minimum bend radius was what it should be, just underneath the antenna, with the thought that I suppose if water gets into the cable, or if you have to cut the cable and replace the connector, you have that little bit of spare cable. Now, in my experience, I find the issue here is water. I use self-amalgamating tape, but no more than yourself, I actually prefer N types where I can get them to bias. I don't know why there's so many things in ham radio, because I work in telecoms and most of the commercial stuff is N type. But whenever it's sealed, do you think if you get water into the connector and it gets wrecked to the point that you need to replace it, I would generally replace the whole cable down to wherever the feed point is. Right?
I guess I agree, because it will just
Water
suck
travels
itself
in
in from
cables.
the braid. Yeah, it goes all the way through.
Yeah.
Goes all the way through. Yeah, that's my opinion. I was just wondering, do you think them loops underneath antennas are any benefit? I see them everywhere, and I don't really.
Are you sure that's not to choke off the antenna? Are you sure it's for water protection?
One
No,
loop is not going to choke off your antenna.
It's just one loop. Maybe you guys never seen it, but I have definitely seen it. So you just
I've
put
got
the cable would be
Yeah,
going up the
I guess
pole.
that's just ham paranoia. I want to replace the connector in a year, and I need this extra 5 centimeters. So
Yeah. But to me now, if the antenna if the connector needed replacing, then it's kind of. Now I suppose maybe if you were changing the connector type because you changed the antenna, that's one thing. But yeah.
okay.
Yeah, I was just wondering your thoughts on it. I would replace the whole cable down, because I've seen water travels through it.
Yeah, I don't put that loop on my antennas, but
Neither do I.
I tried to keep the coax where it enters the house at an angle that doesn't lead water into the house, though.
Oh yeah.
I'll tell you, on my home base here, my vertical I have around the back here, I put the loop in it. The reason, I don't know if it works, but I read that one reason why you put at least one loop in it, if my vertical got hit by lightning, the lightning would, at the loop, it would project the flash out away from coming through the rest of the coax. I don't know if that's true. I don't know if it happens. But hey, safety precaution, I put the loop in it because mine's been out there for 3 years. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So, and like right now, I don't know if you guys seen any flashes, but it's lightning. We're having a thunderstorm here right now as I talk. So, that's why I did it.
Yeah. No, yeah.
And you just shared a photo here, Kjetil.
I see it. Yeah.
Yeah, that's one of the antennas. So this is the clubhouse, and this is the North Sea. So
and the next thing over is England. There's nothing between that coast and England.
Scotland.
Well, Scotland, yeah.
Yes.
Some people call Scotland England as well, but we don't, of course. But some people do that. Yeah.
The UK.
So and that I guess your antennas need somewhat more water sealing there than in some other places.
It's funny, we're talking about coax, and something that I discovered last week when I was portable. I used a very short piece of coax. I mean, it was only like 3.5 to 4 meters long. A pretty short piece of coax, and I didn't use the choke. I was using with the slide winder or whatever. And I noticed I tuned it. I had perfect SWR, but when I was talking, I was watching the SWR as I was modulating higher than I normally do when I choke. So my thought pattern is with a shorter piece of coax, we're talking about loop or whatever, like we said before, ABC, always be choking. You know what I mean? So that's that same short piece of coax. Now, when I go out, I'm going to definitely put a choke there. But that's one thing. And getting back to connections or whatever, you got B and C or whatever. Then this is my choke I use a lot on my verticals. As you can see, it's these are SO239 connections on it. So it's kind of I think that's kind of the one thing I can say about 239 is when you put the PL239 to an SO, and it's encapsulated and solid, it's screwed in, so you're not going to get moisture in it like when I'm on the beach or whatever. The only time really
but you need a good one with a seal at the back, otherwise.
Yeah. I mean, let's be honest. When I'm portable, it's an hour and a half, maybe 2 hours tops. So
exactly. And I don't know if you can see this in the end connector here, but there's a seal in the back here to seal it off. And at some point, it turns out now my camera does not want to focus close, but when I want it to focus,
usually it loves to.
Yeah. But yeah, there's a seal inside the connector here, so that helps it seal shut. But it's all about practicality, though.
I'm just pretty bad at soldering these connectors. This the inner golden pin to properly get that in. That is always tricky. I would need end connectors that come with 3 spare pins in order to get it right.
Yeah.
The crimp ones are very good, though. If you get really good quality crimp one, I mean, these are connectors. These would be €12 a piece, but the crimp ones, if you have the right tools, are 5 minutes. And the whole thing as well is the right cleaver tools. The right cleaver tool to actually cleave it ready for the connector. And with the right things, like 4 or 5 minutes, you have an end connector onto LMR 400 or something like that. They're very good.
And Jeff comments that Messi and Poloni make waterproof PL259 connectors.
There you go.
But if you're not sponsored by Messi and Poloni, I guess Noham would be able to afford it.
Yeah.
Sponsored
That's the
free
thing.
hand, right?
That being said, I wouldn't mind if Messi and Poloni is watching this. I'd love to test out some coax and see if it's any better.
We're offering to test something, right?
I'll take it.
But I've seen the prices of Messi and Poloni, and I mean it's nice coax, but no way I could afford that.
Yeah.
One
type of coax I've never actually terminated is the one that comes with, and I'm going to have to do it with this now to fix it. That comes with the soda beams. This what is it?
178, isn't it?
174,
yeah.
isn't it?
So I think it's
174.
174. Yeah, RG174. I've never
Yeah.
terminated. I'm going to have to fix that antenna now. As you said, probably because that's cracked, there's water in it. So following my own mantra, I should be replacing the whole cable. But I've never actually made them off, them connectors off before. So
Oh.
I don't know what they're like.
I
Yeah.
put 259 on my.
Yeah, I've terminated 174, and it's actually when you take off the insulation on the outside, it's really nice cable to work with.
All right. Okay. Yeah, I
Yes,
get a proper cleaver first. I just have to get some tools for it.
That's the same dimension as the 316, is it? Isn't it, that cable?
The 316 is a little bit smaller, isn't it? I think.
Is it?
Yeah.
So that's the only thing I worked with, and I think that's as long as you have the right tools to crimp it, it's a fairly simple
getting
operation.
the right. I'll just have to get a few
And,
tools to do it.
Not to break up the party here. I see
we've
reached the hour mark. For me, we could keep going a little bit longer. I don't know about you guys, but it'll take some time to wrap this up as well, though. It usually does.
Can I just keep into to today's theme? Can I just try and share a small video? I don't know if that's going to work, but I'm trying now. Do you have to approve it somehow?
Let's see.
Where to go?
I don't know. Did that get through?
Yeah, I think that got through.
Yeah.
Yes. So you were on the moon last week, right?
That was in Denmark. I told you about it. I was coughing up sands and for a week after that. It was almost 20 meters per second wind, and it was blowing sand everywhere. And I think that the color or the brightness of my radio, it went from glossy to semi-glossy after that
experience.
Okay, so now you have a matte touchscreen, yeah?
That's not a touchscreen on that radio, luckily. So that's, it's a bit of work to get the sound. I haven't gotten all the sound out of every nook and cranny on that radio yet, but it's still working, luckily.
Yeah. Let's try to wrap up, though. I guess we tried to stay on topic today. We've been better and we've been worse than we have been today. So, but that's the way when you put six hams together, though. It tends to squirrel off. Let's talk about our coming week, though. Kjetil, any plans?
Not really. I'll be playing a bit with the radio here from the cabin. I have one eyeball QSO scheduled. There's a neighbor who's half an hour by boat from here on the lake who's also here. So that's the guy who mailed you, Morten.
Yeah, that's LA4 CIA, isn't it?
Yeah. So he does not work for Walt, but with that call sign, you should believe so. Maybe a SOTA, something like that, but mostly I will be doing family stuff. So don't even have a video lined up, I think, for this week. So we'll see.
Dave, any plans for the coming weeks?
Yeah, possibly next weekend, possibly a SOTA next weekend. I haven't anything nailed down, to be honest. Again, as I said earlier, a lot of my not a lot of it, but a portion of it is quite opportunistic. So I'm very much about having the vehicle sort of ready to go if I get an opportunity to go and do, particularly the worldwide flora fauna. Obviously, SOTA is a little less opportunistic. You have to plan to go into the hills. So possibly a SOTA next weekend, and maybe if I end up working near a flora and fauna, I'll give a go at activating one of those. But what I really need to do this week is do a bit of editing. I'm just looking here. I have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. I have 7, not including today, 8 actually including today. 8. Today's a short form video, but I have 7 long form videos that I still have to edit and put on the channel. So I think I need to get my workflow streamlined. Maybe I'll go with that 10-minute, just one take format. There's a couple of late nights maybe this week. So
just one question though. You reached 1,000, but I guess as most people, you still got some watch hours that you need to put in to
Yeah.
become a member of the YouTube partner
Yeah.
program.
Any tips for the
probably,
noobs here?
Well, my tip, or I was going to say to the viewers, the link to Dave's channel is down in the description. So make
thanks,
sure you
Martin.
subscribe and make sure you watch his videos and help him out there.
Yeah,
Gert's got before we go on, Gert's got a topic suggestion: log software for portable. We did
Station Master.
Yeah, we did
Master.
Station Master a couple of weeks ago, though, so we'll probably get there, but I guess not the first coming months. There's always a need to get back to login software, though. I haven't really had time to try Station Master yet, or it just hasn't been high on my priority list. But Bob, next week, any portable work planned out?
Hopefully, I have. I'm the controller of a 2-meter sideband net on Thursday, so I'm going to find a. Hopefully, it's going to be weather, so I can find a mountaintop to do that. And I'm also assistant I'm lost for words all of a sudden. Vikarierende controller for a 10-meter net on Tuesday, so I'm going to try and find maybe the same, maybe another mountaintop for that. And with any sort of luck in between that or the weekend, there's going to be some sunny days where I can do some summits on the air because it's been a while. And I'm going to try to do a proper video. As I said, I'm going to do the deboxing of the new Baofeng radio.
You could do a reboxing. I've seen some people do that as well.
We'll see. I'll try it out, and we can see. Maybe I'll do a reboxing as well.
And I see there's some comments here about hammers, and hammers is great for portable login if you're doing SOTA or POTA. Station Master, I haven't tried that out for portable. I'm thinking that is more of not so much. At least not for SOTA and POTA, but probably those random contacts out in the field yet. I don't know what plans Stu has on that, but Stu can probably answer that.
I barely tried it out, and Stu mentioned he had some changes coming up as well to make it more like easy to use with fauna parks on the air and summits on the air, whatever. So once that is in space, I think that could be a great thing to use. But for now, I'm still on HamRS for activations, and it's a good piece of software, or okay enough at least.
Yeah, it works. Tobias. Yeah, go ahead, Walt, first.
I log with QRZ. I know people think that's ancient or whatever. And what I normally do is take my iPad out with me, but I don't use it so much for logging. I use it in case I hear a call and I don't know where they're at. You know what I mean? Like sometimes, like for me, the Caribbean's just like 46A. That I'm like, where is that? Oh, that's Bahamas. You know what I mean? So I'll type it in and see that. But there's nothing better for me personally. I'm a little old school than a little piece of paper and a pen, man. Just jot them all down, and then especially when you're really rolling through, a portable or whatever, and then go home and log them in. I mean, get on the computer. Yeah, that is one easy way to do it when you're operating portable. Just take a pad and paper with you, because there's so many. You got so much going on, with your phone or whatever, and you're trying to make contacts, man. It's so much easier. Just write the call sign down, time.
Logging on a phone actually takes some practice. It takes a lot of practice to become comfortable and be able to do it fast enough. And I actually use an English keyboard for login on my iPhone because there are 3 less characters in the English alphabet than the Norwegian alphabet, which makes the keys just barely bigger and a lot easier to hit. Today I logged on my computer since I had to use my phone for filming on the video I filmed today because I forgot the memory card at home. That works a lot better, but then you got to be at a place where you have room to set up a computer, and most of the times I don't. Tobias, next week for you?
Starting physiotherapy, 3 sessions for my arm. So let's see how that goes and how painful it is. And then I can see if I can do another 10-minute video. I don't know, maybe looking at that FPGA development board, but getting that explained in 10 minutes is a challenge on its own.
Keep the videos shorter, though. Make more of them and keep them shorter. That's my piece of advice.
Yeah, my subscriber count is anyway more or less not changing since weeks. So, but anyway, I was also offline, right? So you can't really blame people.
So
You have to produce content.
you have to produce content, but the best thing is, or the most important thing is, produce content that you like doing.
Exactly. Yeah.
Don't
Not
produce
just for content's sake. Do what
No.
you're also interested in, right?
Exactly, and that'll make the content better by itself, and the viewers will come.
Content is king.
Yeah, and if you're not subscribed to Tobias' channel, links down below. Actually, if you're not subscribed to any of our channels, you should probably do that.
Now you're saying this at the end of the stream. We should start start by saying that.
Yeah, because we've increased the viewer count through the stream today, so hopefully we've kept a couple of people from the beginning.
Nice.
Walt, any activations next week?
Yeah, for sure. I just got. I haven't even attempted to make a QSO on my new X6100 because I wanted to do it portable. I want to catch it on the camera and see what it's about. What I want to do is, for people that subscribe to my channel and you see me in the harbor, that's right across the street from where I live. I live right by the water, so I'm going to run out there Monday, Tuesday night, and I'm going to take my MFJ 17-foot vertical and extend it all the way because the one thing about Zygu radios is the ATU. So I really want to see if the X6100 ATU is as good as the G90 and the 5150, you know, whatever. I want to see how. I just want to run through this radio as far as, you know, and I'm not going to be. There's so many X6100 videos out there. I just want to my environment, me use it the way I use it. I just want to see how it goes, and I'm just going to go do a portable activation with that, and I'll probably have a video up on that this week for sure.
It's
Dave,
really hot. Yeah, go ahead. Sorry.
No, Dave, I hit that 1,000 mark about 10 months ago, and I'm getting ready to hit the 10,000 mark. Just some advice. My channel is growing pretty quick. One thing that I do, and being an American, it's a little different, is, you know, everybody runs out and gets a new product and does a review on it, and then you put a video up and you see like 5 other people doing the same video or whatever. Your channel's awesome. Your operating is awesome. Be true to yourself. Be yourself. Keep putting out the good content like you're doing. And I mean, I'm sure there's people out there. I have haters. We're all going to have haters or whatever. But I try to, and I think one of the reasons people ask me, wow, why is your channel growing so fast? Because I'm just filming me being me. You know what I mean? I don't need to I don't need free Messi and Poloni coax and keep pushing products and pushing this or that and other. I won't do, you know, I get emails all the time. Hey, we'll give you this for free or whatever. Hey, thanks, but no thanks. I just want to be me. And I think that's one of the reasons why my channel has grown from 1,000 to I'll probably hit 10,000 next month. And I'll do that in a year's time. I see you as that kind of YouTuber, like just get out and operate. And I think you are going to be you're going to move fast up through the HamTuber thing because you have really good content, dude. And I enjoy it. I do enjoy it. So, yeah, I'm excited that you just hit the 1,000 for sure. It's good to see it. And I'll be watching you and hitting that like button and all that good stuff. So just keep it up.
I mean, it's also the difference whether you do, if you do this YouTube stuff as a hobby in your spare time and you have a complete separate day job, or if you really have to, you know, you do this to, you know, feed your family, right?
Yeah,
then
it's
more or less
have
no choice than to push products and take these promotions, right?
and if people want to do YouTube as a day job, it's a different kind of channel that you got to have, or if you just want to make videos that you like doing. There's nothing wrong about having YouTube as your job, though.
Yeah. Like
but it's a tough one.
Yeah.
It is. And I think the world, I really, really like Mike Cade, MRD. I think he's a friend. I love his channel. I watch a good part of it if it's interesting, whatever. Jason, those guys, you know, they're fine. But they're putting out 3-4 videos a week, and it gets to the point to where, man, you know, I've already seen a video on that product or whatever. And, you know, and I'll be honest with you, not them, but there are some guys out there that clickbait a lot of stuff, and I don't clickbait. Don't do that. I really think that just be true to yourself and put out the content. People, I think, want to see you operating portable and how you're doing it, and I think that is really, that's what's going to get people interested in you, and it's not going to get everybody interested in you. And let's be honest, if you think you're going to make a living off ham radio YouTube, it's not going to happen. I mean, you know what? If you really want to make,
I should quit now. Then,
off of YouTube, go buy a sailboat, sail around the world, and get some beauty queen in a bikini to dive off the front of the boat all the time with your camera on it, and then you're going to get 1 million views every video. And but ham radio, we're a niche and a smaller community.
Yeah.
And I think, and like I said, I just enjoy as I'm learning stuff to document it. And I find that when I do that, I've even gone back and viewed some of my old videos trying to remember how I did something or whatever, is that if you do that, you're helping yourself and you're helping other people that are new to the hobby. And then, like I said, you're going to get, I get hate all the time. I just delete it right away. Boop, boop, bye. And then this past week, I deleted 2 comments from the guy who kept going to video, and I blocked him. I'm done with it. You know what I mean? And I'm flattered. Hey, thank you. You know what I mean? I'm getting under your skin. Good for me. I'm running around in your brain. You're not running around in my brain right now.
So, But I mean, back to the 6100 though, it's hard doing original content on the 6100 because TO and Ham Radio Dude has pretty much done everything on that radio that there is to do. Like I said,
Morton, it's just a tool. To me, my channel and people who subscribe to me, it's about the elements, man. It's about conditions, solar conditions, band conditions, the ground plane, the salt water, building an antenna, making the tools to get out there and do it. And
exactly.
All a radio is it's a different socket on the wrench. It's all it is. It's just, so, and that's kind of how I like to what I'm interested in as a ham.
Yeah. And that's a great thing about Ham Radio YouTube, though. There's a lot of different views on the hobby. It's a hobby of 1,000 hobbies, and I kind of like the technical aspect of things. I'm a big nerd, and I like figuring out why things work the way they do, and if there's anything that can be improved or something like that. But we all have our niches, and that's what attracts people. If everyone had the same channel, none of us would be on YouTube.
Yeah. And I think we enjoy the editing process as well. I think we enjoy the editing.
That is meditation for me, editing a video.
Yeah. Just disappearing into a photo.
I see something in the comments here. Nathan said Walt is totally bought by Zygo. One thing that bothers me more than anything is when I see these guys that say Radiosity has sent them this product to review, and they're out there reviewing this product and they got it for free. And you know what? Everything I have with the Zygo brand on it, I bought from Radiosity and I paid for it. And I probably sold more G90s for Radiosity than a lot of other yeah. How many people go, Walt, I bought a G90 because you got one. A lot of people have it. I even filled out, a while back, Radiosity, you go on their site, says, would you like to be a review? I filled it out because I was like, you know what? I use your product, whatever. That's when they totally egged me. I'm like, all right, done. You know what I mean? But so W here, no, I'm not an under the table deal with nobody.
No, and if you receive products, it's important to be transparent about it, though. It's important to let people know that this is a product you get for free. I received some free radios. I also turned deals down because after doing 15 HT videos of the same radio, you can't really do a new spin on it. And it's also products that I've received that has not been posted because they're shitty products. I'm past the 8-second or 12-second mark, so I can say that now. But I mean they're not good products. And but some of the products I've received, and I actually in Norway you have to pay import fees on it. You have to pay sales tax, and I have to pay income tax on it. So the products I receive are not by any means free, even though I don't pay the supplier from the radios. I guess that's our little rant today. Next week on my video, on my channel, doing a couple of POTA videos the coming weeks, and also unboxing the Pixie as you did, Tobias. And we'll see if we can find some time to build that live on stream, both of us, and see if we can make a QSO, even though I don't know CW.
I need to say I'm up for that. I have the kit. I've had it since before I got my license. I just found it, so I'm up for soldering that together on the stream.
Yeah, the same kit as we got with the case.
Yeah,
and everything?
no, without the case, but the Pixie.
Yeah,
Pixie. It's Pixie, isn't it?
Yeah, Pixie.
Yeah.
So I'm releasing the video Friday next week. So actually Tuesday, the week after that. So I might move that up if we want to do a live stream on it before that. So, and I'm going to try to dive into 11 meters a little bit more. I still haven't hooked it up though, but I've cleaned it now. So, took about half a bottle of isopropanol to clean it, but it worked. So,
I'm proud of you. You didn't say CV. You said 11 meters.
Just to see what that's like. I've never been an 11 meter guy or a CBer, so I want to see how that works out.
Have you checked that the audio output is clean after all that isopropanol?
I haven't been anywhere. Oh yeah, I got your point.
Since William was heading up with all the bad dad jokes here. So.
Yeah, there's been a lot of dad jokes in the chat tonight, and there's been a lot of interaction from you from our viewers. William comments that it's a very old radio. Yeah, it is. I'm just going to show this up before we go. It's a Zodiac. It is an old radio. I remember my grandfather had the same radio, but so it's a bit of nostalgia, and I want to see if it works. Perhaps get one QSO and then put it on a shelf, as with a lot of my...
You want to hear an embarrassing anecdote about CB radios and me?
Yeah,
the first
go ahead.
radio
that
the first radio that I got or saw was a slightly defect CB radio that a friend of mine, a school friend of mine, like, I don't know, we were maybe 12 years, 13 years. And of course, what do? Yeah, you open it up and you see all these tiny little coils, yeah, and you start, fiddling around with a screwdriver to improve reception, yeah? So you can imagine how well that worked, right? Yeah, but I learned since then, yeah, so it was decades ago.
So, but
13-year-old me cracked open a couple CBs and did that back in the that Yeah, I tell you, that was fun.
I think that is the reason. That's the reason why we're actually able to handle ham radios now, because we broke so many things when we were young. We had to learn to put them back together. I think that's what does it.
That is absolutely. And I got one more thing for next week. I'm studying for my American tech license, not because I have to, but because there's. I won't say it's not a challenge, but there's something to be had. So not really. I'm not sure if I'm going to use it, but I really want an American call sign.
Is there a CW requirement for that test?
No, there's not. And actually, the tech license is. The questions are ridiculously stupid once you get past the language barrier.
So using an app for that or web?
Yeah, I'm using Ham Study, the same people that make the signal stick antennas.
You do know once you get that American license and you come to the United States, you will have more privileges being Kilo 4 stroke Lima Bravo 0 than you will using the American call.
I know, but it's just for some reason I really want that. And on that note, we're way past the hour mark. Thank you to the viewers. We'll be back next week with some kind of topic that we probably won't follow. And that's it for now. Thank you, everyone. We'll see you in a week. 7-3.
Thanks very much for having me, Martin.